Fire at the Colombo harbour spewed out thick smoke up in the air this morning.
We have more details coming up after this.
Fire breaks out at the Colombo harbour. CID arrests teenager over hacking of president's official website. MP Basudeva Nanakara speaks on the fate of the joint opposition. Court orders to seal 2 mills which supplied rice unfit for consumption. Government the 100 Days Initiative quenches the thirst of people in 2 more villages. Support extended for education.
The fire that erupted in the waste material storage section of the Colombo port this afternoon has been doused. The Ministry of Ports and Shipping said that the fire was doused by the Sri Lanka Navy and the fire brigade.
Reports are coming in of a large fire that is erupted in one of the container terminals at the Colombo harbour. Now the visuals you are seeing is the smoke that is rising from that fire. Initial reports coming in are not confirmed but say that a large pile of rubber at one of the container terminals has caught fire and that fire units of the harbour, the Navy and surrounding areas have been deployed to douse the fire. Reporting to you for News First, I am Krishan Devasagayam in close proximity to the Colombo harbour. The fire had broken out in a workshop belonging to a private company near the eastern jetty of the harbour. A stock of decommissioned rubber pipes which had been used to pump sand had caught fire. The media unit of the Ministry of Ports and Shipping said that the blaze did not interrupt services as the fire broke out outside the range of ships' operations. The ministry added that no property belonging to the Colombo port was damaged by the fire. Rising from what? Since the fire that broke out in the Knuckles Reserve has not been doused, the fire is still prevailing. The smoke has obstructed the visibility of the drivers travelling along the road. Meanwhile, dense smoke from the fire that broke out in the Knuckles Reserve between Ududumbara and Katahagolla along the Kandy Mahayangani main road has impaired visibility for motorists. The inferno broke out on the eastern slope of the Knuckles range. Area residents claim the forest fire was the work of arsonists.
A 17-year-old youth from Kadugannava has been arrested by the Criminal Investigations Department on suspicion over hacking into the president's official website. The CID states the arrest was made following a complaint launched by the President's Media Division, and the student was arrested by the Information Technology Unit of the CID in Kadugannava today.
Manampitiya Magistrate Nuwan Hintigala ordered for 2 rice mills that contained imported stocks of rice unfit for human consumption to be sealed today. The order was made after taking into consideration facts presented by the public health inspectors who produced the owner of one of the rice mills and rice samples taken from both mills. The suspect rice mill owner was released on a surety, while the rice samples were ordered to be sent to the government analysts. Action TV uncovered the manner in which the stock of rice that is unfit for human consumption was polished and packaged into bags containing the Satusa brand at a mill located in the Kusumgama area in Polonnaruwa, which is one of the 2 mills currently being inspected. The expose was made even before 24 hours could lapse, since the questioning of officials at Lak Satusa and the Minister of Industry and Commerce, Rishad Badiuddin, by the Presidential Investigation Commission that is carrying out an inquiry into the importation of a stock of rice by Lak Satusa. Responding to the expose made by Action TV on Saturday, the Ministry Secretary, in a letter addressed to us, points out that the incident does not concern the rice mill in Kusumgama but a rice mill in Minneria. Although rice samples from this mill were also produced in court, the name of the mill owner was not revealed in court today. This is the rice mill in Minneria, which was sealed today following an order by the magistrate. The fact that 500,000 kilograms of rice was released to this mill by Lak Satusa for polishing was confirmed in the letter sent by the Ministry Secretary. The owner of the rice mill in Kusumgama does not possess any documentation confirming that Satusa had released the stocks of rice to the mill. Speaking to Action TV on Saturday, the owner stated that he was given the responsibility by Satusa to polish 578,096 kilograms of rice that would expire on the 23rd of this month, package the rice into bags containing the Lak Sathosa branding, and to change the expiry date to a date in March next year. At a time when this mill had not received a tender to polish the stock of rice, and when the Food Assessment Committee had not obtained samples from the mill prior to the polishing process, officials representing Sathosa in court today were also present to provide facts on the polishing of rice at the mill. According to the Ministry Secretary, the decision to release the stock of polished rice to the market via Sathosa was a decision taken by the Ministerial Subcommittee on the Cost of Living.
This is not the wrongdoing of anyone. The subcommittee on the cost of living was fully aware and provided approval. The Ministry of Industry and Commerce, with my approval, released the stock of rice for cleaning.
The Janata Vimukti Peramana alleges that plans are afoot to sell the eastern terminal of the Colombo harbour.
The government recently published notices announcing the privatization or sale of the Eastern Container Terminal and the half-kilometre-long jetty at the Colombo port. The announcement itself notes that the jetty has been completed up to 440 metres and that it comprises of an 18-metre deep jetty wall and a 22-hectare area with facilities for development from the Ports Authority. 95% of the work has already been completed. The only problem here is the lack of a crane and the lack of equipment to unload containers. Instead of procuring what is required, the minister has argued against it and is instead proposing that the Port Authority retain a 51% share and that they sell off the remaining 49%. The current regime is planning to sell off a jetty that can be developed without any problem, without even obtaining cabinet approval first. In truth, all that will be left for the Sri Lankan Port Authority is the water.
Speaking at a media briefing held today, MP Vasudeva Nanayakkara, who is a secretary of the Democratic Left Front, called for the formation of a special group of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
We do not need to form a new party. As the joint opposition, we should take part in the local government elections. All we need is a symbol to contest the elections under. A decision will be made based on the results of the local government elections on who has the right to the SLFP. After that, this is no longer a legal problem, but a political party. The ownership of the party depends on the people's votes, not on rules and regulations. If we were to form a new party, or someone was to suggest forming a new party, or if we publish anything as a new party, we will be handing over the ownership of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party to Maithripala Sirisena. Also, if we do not fight for the SLFP, it would mean that we would have to remain silent while they take it from us.
Speaking at an event held in Bopide today, Minister John Amanatunga expressed the following views on the responsibilities of the opposition.
They are not from the opposition. The opposition leader is separate. There are 10 or 15 persons who have nothing to do, who cannot select a leader, who cannot form a party, and they are scolding our president and the prime minister. They walked until they had no energy, left from Kandy to Colombo until their feet were covered in corns, and eventually nothing transpired from it. There is no responsible opposition. This is our disappointment.
Speaking at an event held in Lunugambahera today, Minister of Housing and Construction Sajith Premadasa spoke about the government's readiness to face the threats posed by the opposition.
A bridge which was constructed with a cost of 26 million rupees in Samanpura, Lunugambahera, was handed over to the public under the auspices of Minister Sajith Premadasa.
If someone opposed the previous government or even presented an opposing statement against them, they would threaten to send a white van to their houses. People disappeared and were killed. Now the division which used to implement these threats are now trying to pinch our president and our prime minister. Why should we who faced a tsunami be afraid of these fleas? I will give a clear message to these fleas. The good governance government is not afraid of these threats. We will respond to the threats made to the president and the prime minister by creating development in the country.
The Deputy Solicitor General stated in court today that the information has come to light regarding the suspects who were involved in taking missing journalist Prageeth Ekneligoda to the Girithale camp.
The Deputy Solicitor General made this statement in court today when the fundamental rights petition filed by the spouses of the 4th and 5th suspects detained in connection with the disappearance of Prageeth Ekneligoda was taken up at the Supreme Court. Deputy Solicitor General Sarath Jayamana submitted to court that the investigation could be concluded within a month if security forces cooperate with the investigation. The petition will be taken up again on the 3rd of October. Meanwhile, the suspect in the assault on senior journalist Upali Thenakon was produced before the Gampaha Magistrates Court today. A military intelligence officer has been arrested in connection with the assault, which occurred on the 23rd of January 2009 in Imbulgoda, Gampaha. The attorney representing the suspect noted that telephone communication reports have indicated that his client was in Kovala on the day of the assault was carried out. Gampaha Chief Magistrate Kavindi Nanakara ordered that a report analysing the intelligence officer's telephone communications be submitted to court. The suspect was remanded until the 9th of September. Meanwhile, Venerable Uduwe Dhamma sought permission from court today to travel overseas between the 3rd and 7th of September. Attorneys representing the state submitted to court that the advice of the Attorney General was required on this matter. Accordingly, the case will be taken up tomorrow. As a monk, I am distanced from all parties. I do not pay much attention to that. But through this conflict, it is our country that is being destroyed from every direction. This is very clear. Both major parties in our country must be secure. I believe that it will be good for the country if both parties are secure. Mohammed Muzammil, the media spokesperson of the National Freedom Front, was summoned to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption once again today. He was summoned to provide a statement over the recruitment of sales supervision officers to the State Engineering Corporation during his tenure as Operations Director from 2010 to 2015.
Speaking at an event held in Athanagala today, former President Chandrika Bandaranaike offered some strongly worded advice for the public officials.
The new 3-story building housing the Athanagala Divisional Secretariat was declared open today by former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga.
The Samruddhi Fund was created in my mind and was established under my government. But this was not done to provide jobs where officials can just stay at home. It was not formed for people to steal from it. It was not done to take commissions from road projects. When I went home after my 11 years were over, I did not creep on the roads. I did not beg to be returned to the position, nor will I. The Samruddhi movement was established as one solution to eradicating poverty. In the past, Samruddhi officers and agricultural officials were politicized and trained to bow before politicians. Because they were engaged in politics, they were even allowed to steal. Do not be angry, my friends. I will be straightforward with what I have to say. It was the same during my presidency, and it is even more pronounced now since I am not involved in politics. I am in politics, but I will not contest elections. Your salaries are paid with public funds. Please do not go and prostrate yourself at various places.
President Maithripala Sirisena has decided to declare the year 2017 as a year that the country will be freed of poverty.
Speaking at the review meeting of the Ministry of Mahavali Development and Environment today, the President stated that the proposal in this regard will be presented to the Cabinet. President Maithripala Sirisena also states that steps will be taken to eliminate serious economic difficulties faced by the lower-grade employees of the public and private sector. The President, who reiterated that officials should ensure that money allocated for the year 2016 is spent in a proper manner, noted that measures should be taken to prevent the flow of money back to the Treasury. When looking at the 25 administrative districts, we should ensure that the development that takes place in all 25 of the districts is the same. While there is development taking place in certain provinces due to the strength and influence of certain politicians, some areas show a lack of progress. Therefore, when speaking about a just society, development should be a national priority and it should reflect in all districts and in all divisional secretariats. Taking that into account, we should prioritize poverty and deprivation.
දුගීභාවය දරිද්‍රතාවය කියන ප්‍රශ්නයට අපි ප්‍රමුඛත්වය දෙන්න ඕනේ.
The Gum at the 100-Day Initiative took a vital step towards instilling knowledge among children and uplifting the living standards of people who are deprived of the basic necessities of life.
Gum at the 100 Days Initiative. If Sirasa can come forward to construct roads in the Gampa district, which is home to 2 former prime ministers, a former president, a former chief minister and 2 former speakers, the politicians should bow down and ask for forgiveness for failing to serve the country.
The chief prelate expressed these views in response to the failure to construct a building to house students attending the Moragoda Mukalana Sri Sugada Abhirama temple.
The politicians must be watching this. Though they spend millions and billions, they never came to these villages. We went begging to the politicians, looking for answers without anything to eat and with water in our bottles, but we were not provided a solution even then.
The politicians will be watching closely because they failed to look into this despite spending hundreds of thousands on other things. Samantha Pereira, a Sri Lankan national residing in Japan, facilitated the project, which will ease the hardships of the villagers.
The Gum at the program is a good program. That is the reason why I decided to extend my support. We would like to congratulate the Gum at the team.
The chief benefactor of this project, Samantha Pereira, joined the Gum at the initiative following the intervention of the chairman of the Sri Lanka Mahabodhi Society, Venerable Banagala Upatissa Thero.
මුළු පැය 24ම තමන්ගේ සේවය වෙනුවෙන් කැපවෙලා ඉන්න කට්ටිය අද ගමක් පාසා
People who are dedicated to their profession 24/7 are walking from rural village to rural village. I too am surprised how Sirasa has been able to locate these villages. I believe that 4-wheel drive vehicles are needed to travel to such rural villages. The 4-wheel drive vehicles being purchased by the government now should be given to Sirasa so that they can travel to these villages. While he does not wear a monk's robe, Mr. Raja Mahendran is considerate towards all religions and works with these valuable ideals. That is why we too extend our blessings to this initiative. This project will be blessed and strengthened by the gods, and I believe that the eyes of the United States, China and India will be focused on the work carried out through this initiative.
මේ වෙත යොමු වෙනවා ඇතේ කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා.
Samantha Pereira Mahatmaya,
Mr. Samantha Pereira, we are grateful that you came forward to render your assistance. Even though he is not present here at the occasion, he has offered his wealth. This place needs no introduction. So if we can light one lamp and one house, then we should not stop there. Because you can light another lamp. If we light 100 lamps, we give life to 100 homes.
Let's unite. Let's work together. Let's provide solutions to the problems of the people. That is our only solution. That is our only aim. Businessman Johan Pallemulla came forward and pledged his support to further develop the project by committing a sum of 300,000 rupees.
He has decided to donate another 300,000 rupees for this project.
Meanwhile, people of the Eaglersland estate in Ratnapura, who had access to water for 2 hours a day, were provided a solution through the Gum at the 100-Day initiative today. Even though they had lamented before the officials, a resolve for this issue was kept at bay. The tears they shed day and night far exceeds the measly amount of water they were given access to. Water was provided not only for the people of Eaglersland but also for the medical centre in Balakotuna. The ability to quench the thirst of 7,000 families was possible due to the contribution made by Lalita Jayatilaka and B.N.K. Pereira.
I would like to thank Newsfirst for giving me an opportunity to contribute to this project.
The problems faced by the people were brought to the attention of the officials, but most of the time it was ignored. They formulate plans and projects in their air-conditioned rooms. We have rallied the support of those who want to lend a helping hand to do something for you. The Gum at the 100-Day initiative will continue to ease the suffering of our people whose lives are burdened with sadness and sorrow.
All activities being undertaken across the island under the government the 100 Days initiative can be accessed in cyberspace from today.
The Gamadda website was launched at an event held at the Newsfirst Centre in Colombo this morning under the auspices of Professor Mark Leslie Pearson of Griffith University, Australia. Professor Pearson is an expert on mass media and social media networks. The website can be accessed by visiting www.gamadda.lk. The public will be able to monitor progress on various projects undertaken through the Gamadda 100 Days initiative on this website. For the first time in Sri Lanka, donors who are supporting public projects will be able to monitor in real time how their donations are being spent. Meanwhile, Professor Mark Leslie Pearson also participated in an inspection tour on the Navimana Malvana Hill Road renovation project in Mirigama, which commenced on Saturday.
Well, this has been a very moving occasion. There are things we take for granted in our Western societies like Australia, such as access to facilities, good roads and good quality of water and an adequate supply of water. And it is wonderful to see a television network helping and taking the initiative to help a local community get access to some of the basic needs of life. So it's been a very moving experience, but what's even better is to see that it's a collaborative effort. It's not just about the reporting of news, it's also about making a big difference to communities.
Sri Lanka's first and most powerful public service journalism initiative is now on the World Wide Web at www.gamadda.lk. Be a part of the latest development initiatives by staying updated. All you have to do is simply log on to the website www.gamadda.lk.
Minister Rajitha Senaratne declared today that the Mattata Titha campaign had failed to halt the abuse of alcohol in the country.
The Health Minister expressed the following views at the launch of the report on a national survey on the symptoms of non-communicable diseases.
34.7% consume alcohol. The number increased during the Mattata Titha campaign. This shows us how well the Mattata Titha campaign worked. There was no support from the government for this purpose in the past. I witnessed this with my own two eyes. There is one positive indicator here. Smoking has reduced by 10.2%. In the recent past, the President and I put forward a joint cabinet paper to impose a 91% tax on tobacco and impose a VAT of 15% too. I had several requests from tobacco corporations in the recent past to meet with me, but I did not meet them. I still receive requests. About 30,000 people die in our country every year because of tobacco. Next year, we will establish a screening centre in every district where all tests will be carried out for the public free of charge.
The first open government partnership Civil Society National Action Plan for Sri Lanka was launched in Colombo today.
Sri Lanka became a member of the Open Government Partnership in 2015, following which the National Action Plan for 2016 and 2018 was drafted with the assistance of the members of the Open Government Partnership civil society organization. The steering committee touched on a number of themes including education, ICT, environment, local government, women in political governance, corruption and right to information.
The OGP represents an extension of the same thinking that was there during the 100-day program. What we have here is we have commitments and we have dates. And that's very important not only for government in understanding what they need to get done by what date, but also for civil society and the media in holding government to account on these same commitments. If the government wants to make alterations to this document, they must give very good reasons why they make alterations to the document. Otherwise, the document should remain as it is. The government is also, in becoming a member of the Open Government Partnership, has also said that they will come under something called the independent review mechanism. And so the independent review mechanism which is run by the Open Government Partnership, will assess the government on how they have actually handled this process and whether they have actually taken the suggestions given. If they haven't, it will be an embarrassment to the government.
CITES pre-COP17 workshop to discuss the proposed sharks and rail listings was held in Colombo today.
Today's workshop was attended by 10 countries in the South Asian region to discuss the proposed sharks and rail listings. Several countries who attended the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, Wild Fauna and Flora in South Asia expressed support for the proposed listings of the silky shark, 3 species of threshers, sharks and mobula rays.
With 100 million sharks killed each year, strong action is clearly needed to protect shark species wherever they are found. And the government of Sri Lanka is joining this global battle to save sharks and rays found at home, in the Indian Ocean and all around the world. My visit in Geneva, the CITES, and we put a proposal that Sri Lanka is keen to host next 2019 CITES conference. I submitted a proposal to the cabinet last week. Excellent President and the Prime Minister and all the cabinet members approved that 2019 to host Sri Lanka to take it up in Johannesburg, the CITES conference.
TM Dilshan, or more commonly known as Dilly Scoop, addressing a post-match briefing, noted that during his tenure he had rendered his fullest for the country.
I still could play the game of cricket, but speaking the truth, I need to think more on my future. If I continue to play for another year and then retire, we will not be able to groom young cricketers in time for the World Cup.
And with that, we wrap up Primetime News. For the News First team, I'm Sandru Ferdinando.
And I'm Bernadine Jai Singha. Good night. Take care.